This is News with the Disney Dude. Please like this video, subscribe to my channel for more content, and please hit that thumbs up if you like the video. Here now is the news for Friday, May 29th of 2026. And we begin with some breaking news and very good news. Bluey's Wild World at Conservation Station is eliminating their virtual queue at Disney's Animal Kingdom starting on June 2nd. This is fantastic news. This is great. I didn't expect it to happen so fast, but evidently Walt Disney World thinks that they can control the crowds going to and from Conservation Station and then back to Harambe. Apparently they think that they can handle the crowds now. Let's hope. But you know, this is fantastic. Once I get a chance, I'll head over. I'll head over to Animal Kingdom and experience Bluey's Wild World over there. Try saying that 3 times fast. I was really excited to experience it the first time, and then Walt Disney World came out and said that they're doing a virtual queue. I said, oh, forget that. Forget it. I'm not doing that. That's a bunch of nonsense. I don't deal with virtual queues. I hate them. So I was like, no, I'm good. Once that goes away, then I'll go on over there and check that out. So after June 2nd, then I'll be able to go over there and experience it and video it and everything. But that's great. That's great to hear. Even more guests can go over to Conservation Station now and experience Bluey's Wild World. So that's great. That is fantastic. I'm sure some people are going to be like, it's going to be crowded now, and it's going to be blah, 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 blah. I mean, I don't know. Again, I would rather have it be like that than this virtual queue, because when you have a standby line, then it's up to the guests. It's up to the guests to say, you know what, I'm not going to wait in that line, however long it is. I'll just come back when it's died down or something. So you give your guests that option. With the virtual queue, you don't give them that option. I mean, virtual queue is kind of like a halfway point between a standby line and a lightning lane line. But it's when you're joining the virtual queue, God forbid you're in another line and they call your group number and you end up being late to it, and then they won't let you in, which usually doesn't happen, but you always have to take that into consideration with the virtual queues. So putting it on a standby wait gives the guest their own choice. Am I gonna wait however long for this attraction, or can I come back when it's not so crowded? Okay, so but again, that's great to hear. I love it. That's going to have more guest positivity, I think, because now more guests can experience Bluey's Wild World. Stone work and roof details have been added to Epcot's refreshment port. So the refreshment port is just outside of of what we call the hub, right before you enter the different countries. It's right off to the right on your way to Canada. They've been working on this building for quite a while now. It was supposed to open with the Flower and Garden Festival. That didn't happen. So they're trying to get this thing done as probably as quick as they can. But it'll be great to have another food kiosk, another food kiosk. I almost said merchandise kiosk, but it's a food kiosk. Another food kiosk available at Epcot. Fake dragonflies, which have been used on the Skyliner, are also being used on Disney World's Saratoga Springs resort boats. So evidently they're having problems with Walt Disney World is still having problems with flies and everything out by the waters and other places. So Disney is trying to combat that with fake dragonflies to scare away the other bugs. So far, it seems to be working. I rode the Skyliner a few days ago with, and I actually saw the fake dragonfly on there. It seems to be working. Right now, we're getting into our rainy season. So I don't know, if the bugs will be out in full force or not. I don't know, but right now this seems to be working. So keep our fingers crossed and knock on wood that it still works. All right, this next story I love, and it always happens when I'm not there, of course. But Joan Cusack, who of course is known for voicing Jessie in the Toy Story franchise, she visited Jessie's Roundup at the Magic Kingdom at the Diamond Horseshoe. So of course, again, they would, the celebrities are always there when I'm not there, but it's nice that she got to visit. She is one of the only voice cast that voices the characters outside of the films. So as far as I know, Joan Cusack voices Jessie in Jessie's Roundup, and in Toy Story Land, and a bunch of other places that has Jessie in a speaking role. As far as I know, she always comes back, which gives it that continuity, which gives it that, it just gives it that continuity. I would like to have Tom Hanks, reprise his roles in the theme parks. Evidently he's too busy, so he has his brother do it, Jim Hanks, which, to the average person, they sound alike, so it doesn't, it sounds, they sound a lot alike, so it's not that far off, but I would still love to have Tom Hanks reprise his roles, but again, evidently he's too busy. I think, don't quote me on this, but I think Tim Allen comes back a lot as Buzz Lightyear, more often than not. Of course, John Ratzenberger, who's no longer with us, he came back a lot for Ham. Wallace Shawn comes back all the time as Rex. So again, it just gives it that continuity of the same character, doing the voice. I understand sometimes you can't have the same voice, but it is nice that a lot of the voice actors come back and reprise their roles, and it's also nice that they go to the theme parks and they visit the theme parks and they visit the places that have their voices. So that's always a nice thing too. Crazy Shake by Black Tap pop-up location is closing at Disney Springs. This doesn't surprise me. I mean, their shakes were outrageous. I mean, they were outrageous. I mean, like, I think I went there to review the Mickey Crazy Shake. That was like almost, I don't even know. God, I think it was like almost $20 for a shake. That was outrageous. Very, very seldom do theme park prices get to me, because again, I'm in this theme park bubble 365 days a year. Okay, I'm in this community 365 days a year, so I know that how much things cost, how much things are, so very seldom do theme park prices surprise me. But man, the Crazy Shake prices, that was outrageous to me. That was just insane to have almost $20 for a shake. And so that was, and it was, I think in my review I said it was okay. It was fine, so, I'm not surprised that it's closing, because that was crazy. That was insane. Now another celebrity spot. Weird Al Yankovic was spotted at Disney's Hollywood Studios to celebrate recent opening of Rock and Roller Coaster starring the Muppets. Again, that happened. All this happens when I'm not there. But hopefully, if you got to meet Weird Al Yankovic, hopefully you got your pictures with them or whatever. But again, it is nice to see that these celebrities that are involved in the Disney parks, they go over there and visit the theme parks. It's nice that they do that, because again, it just keeps that continuity, and it's probably good PR. But I mean, I'm sure we don't want to think about that, but it's probably good PR for them to do that. But I think it's really nice, even though they're now. I'm sure that they love doing things for Disney. Joan Cusack, Weird Al Yankovic, James Woods. Back in the day, Pat Carroll. Jodie Benson. I'm sure that they all loved working for the Disney company and making their appearances. But let's be honest, Disney does it for PR. Okay, Disney does it because they want to, sell the attraction to make money. So, from a business standpoint, it's because of PR. But on the other side of the spectrum, I am glad that they do make an appearance, because it's just a nice thing to do. It's a really nice thing to do. Disney promises possums are returning to Big Thunder Mountain at the Magic Kingdom. I didn't really even notice this when I rode Big Thunder Mountain. I'll have to. I didn't even think to look for it. I was too busy filming the attraction to pay attention. But when I ride Big Thunder Mountain, I'll have to keep them. I guess they're gone. They haven't. Disney hasn't put them back yet. So hopefully sooner rather than later they'll put them back. I mean, they're not audio animatronics. They're just animated figures. I wouldn't even know if you would even call them that because they're stationary. So I don't know if you would even call them an animated figure. Maybe just a animated statue. I guess that would be the right term for it. But again, hopefully sooner rather than later they'll, Disney will put them back. Roof and facade work continues at Chester and Hester's Dinosaur Treasures at Disney's Animal Kingdom. So they're turning the shop is going to be repurposed as another shop for the Tropical Americas. But they're peeling away the facade. So they can get it ready for the next shop that gets there. The three Caballero audio animatronics on Grand Fiesta Tour at Epcot have been refreshed at Epcot, which is great. These animatronics are really old, like extreme. I'm talking these animatronics have been around for over 50 years, okay? These animatronics first started their lives in Mickey Mouse Revue at the Magic Kingdom, where Mickey's PhilharMagic is today. They started their life there. When that show closed and got moved over to Tokyo, they moved over there for that show for a while. And then when Tokyo got rid of that show, Walt Disney Imagineering was like, hey, can we have those back? Because we want to put them in Grand Fiesta, in our Grand Fiesta Tour boat ride at Epcot. So they got shipped back to Florida, and then they got put at the end of the boat ride, which is great. So these animatronics are not young. They are over 50 years old. So they are really, I hate to say that they're showing their age, because right now Disney seems to be taking care of these animatronics. So you probably, looking at them, they do have a look of, that they're older, but you wouldn't, unless you were, one of us, you probably wouldn't know that they were over 50 years old. But again, it is great to see that these have been refreshed. They have, for a while there, they were having they were having major issues. You may remember that, Jose fell over one time. Donald Duck was missing for a while, and then Jose was missing. Then they were then they were back, and then they were all missing at one point because they all had maintenance to do on them, and then they brought them back. So it is nice that, without sitting down and counting, I would probably assume that these are the oldest audio animatronics at Walt Disney World. Without sitting down and counting, because again, this show opened in 1971. So again, I would assume that they are the oldest audio animatronics at Walt Disney World. Again, I could be wrong about that. I don't know. But if someone knows that, they can correct me. But I think that they are the oldest, the oldest audio animatronics at Walt Disney World. So it is great to see that they get the love and care that they need. Set installation permit has been filed for alien swirling saucers at Disney's Hollywood Studios. So I have never been on Alien Swirling Saucers. I'm sure someone's going to be like, what? You never been on it? You know, it's not my cup of tea. I'm not a big spinner type of ride. So I've never been on that attraction, but maybe they're going to add some more scenery to the attraction. I don't know. That would be nice. But again, we're just going to have to wait and see. But I mean, Alien Swirling Saucers, again, I've never been on it, so I don't know. One of these days, I really need to get on it because I want to say that I did it once, but yeah, I've never been on Alien Swirling Saucers. Redesigned My Experience app with upgrades is getting ready to roll out. Walt Disney World website will allow rate comparisons by day and season. So this is all part of trying to make the My Disney Experience mobile app so much better. My Disney Experience mobile app's not everyone's favorite app to use. So I am glad that they are listening to guests and trying to streamline the whole process and everything. So that would be great. One of these days, I hope that Disney just combines everything into one app, so that way we have Disney Plus on there with the parks, and not having to have so many different apps. But who knows if that's ever going to happen? But it is nice that they're paying attention. They're listening to guests and saying, how can we make this app more user-friendly? Which, I mean, again, this is something that I have to put myself in the shoes of regular guests, because obviously I use the My Disney Experience mobile app all the time. I've never had an issue with it. But again, I'm a blogger, and I've gone to Disney, a long time, so I know how to use the apps and everything. So I've never had a problem. But I have to put myself in the shoes of other guests that are once-in-a-lifetime visitors that come once, maybe twice, and that's it. They never come back. So I have to put myself in the shoes of regular guests. And, putting myself in the shoes of a regular guest, this is going to make it easier. This is going to make things a lot easier. It's going to streamline the processes, which is great, which is fantastic. Everybody has been asking for this for years. So it is nice that they're finally doing this. Again, you or I that go to the theme parks all the time, we're probably like, what are they talking about? What are you talking about? My Disney Experience is fine. Okay, we use it all the time, and that's the thing. We use it all the time, so we know the ins and outs and everything. But to the average guest, it's not easy to navigate. So again, I am glad that they're making it easier to do, easier to use. That's great. That's fantastic. All right. Here's a wild story. Only in Florida. A Florida man was arrested for, I don't know how to say this word, voyeurism, I think. He was arrested on that charge after Tron Light Cycle Run incident at Walt Disney World. So I don't know how to pronounce the word, but here's what it is. So he tried to record under a woman's skirt while waiting in line. So that's what that means. People, please don't do this. Please, okay, please do not come to the theme parks and act, like, act this way. This is gross. This is disgusting. Please don't do that. This is just wild. This is crazy. Man, this is, I don't even know what to say, because this is just wild and crazy. So it's good for Disney for arresting him. They caught him, but man, this is just, that's wild. That is wild. Please do not do this at the theme parks, okay? Please don't go around and doing stuff like this, because it's gross, it's disgusting. There are kids here. Okay? So please don't do that. Please do not do anything like that. In our last story, and I could go off on a whole rant on this, but on that, I could go off on a whole rant about the guy filming under, the women's skirts. I could go off on a whole rant on that, but I don't have the time nor the energy to do that. But man, again, I'm glad that he got arrested. I'm glad he's, trespassed now. But man, you can't even go to a theme park anymore without, weird, without, nasty people coming. It's just crazy. Just crazy. And my last story is, Walt Disney World has finally, after all of this time, ever since they updated the Carousel of Progress in the 90s, now they are finally updating Walt Disney's Carousel of Progress. The closing date has been announced. It will be closing, the last day will be on July 5th. So July 6th will be closing. I can't go because that's part of my blockout, so I'm going to have to go before then. I'm going on July 1st to ride the attraction one more time. But they announced a total major overhaul of this attraction. They are shifting timelines now. The audio animatronics are going to be updated and changed. The voice cast is going to be changed. Again, I don't have the time to do to do what I think about this right now. Probably tomorrow I'm going to have more time to sit down and tell you what I think about this, but this is exciting. This is great. I've never had a split mixed feeling like this before, where we have said for decades that we want the Carousel of Progress to be updated, okay? Because it, one, that it needs it, and two, that's the whole idea of the Carousel of Progress, was it's supposed to be updated every so many years, okay? And then Disney kind of just left it in the 90s and was like, it's fine. We don't need to update it. It's fine. It's okay. So, again, I'm so glad that they're doing this. On the other hand, I'm sad because now we're going to lose we're going to lose the voice cast. We're going to lose Gene Shepard. We're going to lose, BJ Ward is the only one that's alive, so maybe she'll come back. I don't know. But we may possibly be losing BJ Ward. We're going to be losing Mel Blanc, which is a shame. We're going to be losing, a lot of the original voice cast in the Carousel of Progress. We're going to be losing. Some of them are no longer with us, like Gene Shepard. Gene Shepard, Mel Blanc. A lot of these, voice actors that did these, that did this show are no longer with us, or even Rex Allen. I don't know if they're going to replace Rex Allen or not. I don't know, but that would be really, really sad. Again, that's I really love this voice cast. I mean, you can't get any better than this voice cast. I mean, Gene Shepard, B.J. Ward, Mel Blanc, Rex Allen. You just can't. You can't get any better than this voice cast. So I hope that they still use some of the dialogue from them, but I don't know. But man, I've never had such a split feeling, like being so happy, and then, on the other hand, sad that we're losing, the original voice cast. And, somebody said online, maybe they can keep some audio from the original voice, from this voice cast, and use it in the new show, which I hope so too. I hope there's callbacks. I hope there's bits and pieces of the original voice cast. I don't know, but I mean that would be great from a fanboy's perspective. Okay, but I'm so excited about them finally doing this. It will be closing, like I said, it will be closing on July 6th. The last day is July 5th, and then it will be closed the rest of 2026, and it will reopen sometime in 2027. My guess would probably be summer, but I don't know. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough not having the Carousel of Progress at Walt Disney World for a whole year. It's gonna be tough. And that attraction is really good with capacity. Really, really good with capacity. A lot of people say, that no one cares about the Carousel of Progress anymore, and it's old and it's outdated, and it's a great spot for a nap, and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, what I will say is, people that say stuff like that don't come to the theme parks. They don't come to the theme parks, okay? The people that, are, that they complain all the time and stuff, or stuff like that, they don't come to the theme parks. So they're just mad because, they just say stuff like that because they don't come to Walt Disney World. They don't come to the theme parks. I can guarantee you those people came once and they never came back. So I can tell you that those people are the ones that are like, it's a great spot for a nap, and it's a great AC break, and blah, 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 blah. Okay? And, they say the same thing about, the Enchanted Tiki Room, and It's a Small World, and all of these other places, that are connected to Walt Disney, So, again, it's a tall order. This is going to be a very tall order to, because this was an attraction that Walt Disney personally worked on. He personally worked on the Carousel of Progress for the 1964-65 World's Fair. Okay? He personally worked on that. And then when the fair ended, the show went to Disneyland for a few years, and then it came to Disney World, to Walt Disney World in 1975. So, and that's where it's been ever since. So, but this attraction, I would say more than anything else, I would say more so than the Hall of Presidents, or the Country Bear Jamboree, or Pirates of the Caribbean, or Haunted Mansion. I would say that Walt Disney's Carousel of Progress is probably the one that's most associated with Walt Disney. That and Walt Disney's Enchanted Tiki Room. Those two attractions, and I guess I should have mentioned Jungle Cruise. So those three attractions are the most synonymous with Walt Disney. Not to say that he didn't work on Pirates or Mansion, he did, but those were really completed after his passing. So, you know, he got to see the Carousel of Progress. He got to see It's a Small World. You know, unfortunately he didn't get to see the Hall of Presidents. But you know, things of that nature. You know, It's a Small World. Walt Disney's Carousel of Progress, Walt Disney's Enchanted Tiki Room, those are synonymous with Walt Disney because those are the attractions that he personally touched, okay? And I know that the Walt Disney World crowd, that doesn't mean anything to them. They're like, what do I care? You know, I don't, you know, I didn't know Walt Disney, so why should I care? So the Walt Disney World crowd is different than Disneyland, the Disneyland crowd, because obviously Disneyland is full of locals. So, and that's Walt's park. That is Walt's park, undoubtedly. Walt Disney World is, you know, it's, you know, unfortunately that doesn't mean anything to most of the guests that visit here because, you know, they're either from another country or they, you know, they don't even know who Walt Disney was, okay, which is insane, okay, but, you know, it's, so, you know, you have to take that into consideration that, you know, the average guest at Walt Disney World is, you know, probably not going to care. I know that sounds harsh, I know that sounds mean, but, you know, we have so many tourists that come to these theme parks that most of them probably don't even know who Walt Disney is. They probably have no idea who that is. They just know his name because his name is part of the company. So that's probably the only way that they know him. Okay, which really makes me sad, which really makes me, you know, but that really fuels me to kind of educate people and say, you know, no, this was a real guy. This was a real man. He built this empire. He built, you know, he made all these classic films. He built, you know, what we know as, you know, the theme park industry. And, you know, the further along we go, the more people, you know, Walt Disney just becomes, you know, basically, you know, somebody that, you know, a lot of people from other countries don't even know who that is. They don't know who Walt Disney is, you know, because, you know, because he lived, you know, he lived a long time ago. You know, he died in 1966. So, you know, so a lot of people don't know who that is. They just know his name because he's on the face of the company. He's the name on the company. So, you know, it's, so, you know, but I'm trying to get back to this Carousel of Progress thing, but, you know, it is, you know, you have to educate people on Walt Disney, especially here in Florida, which is why I love One Man's Dream, because that explains Walt Disney. That tells, you know, that tells people who he was. And then there's attractions like Carousel of Progress, like Walt Disney's Enchanted Tiki Room, like the Hall of Presidents, Haunted Mansion, Pirates of the Caribbean, attractions like that celebrate him. But again, you know, the more far along we go, the more people don't even know, you know, they just forget who Walt Disney was, or they don't even know who that is. So, but that's why I'm glad that we're getting a Walt Disney audio animatronic in the Carousel of Progress, because it's going to educate, it's going to tell people, oh, this was actually a real man. This was a real guy who built this company, which is, you know, which is fantastic, which is great. But I'm going to be doing another video on that at a, you know, hopefully tomorrow. So, you know, explaining Carousel of Progress and such, but, because I don't have the time to do that right now, but that really makes me happy. That really makes me smile that Walt Disney World management is finally saying, we are going to update Walt Disney's Carousel of Progress, which is fantastic. So, but there you are. There's your news for this week. If you like this video, please hit that like button. Please subscribe to this channel for more content. I thank you guys very much for watching this video. You guys enjoy your the rest of your Friday, and you enjoy the rest of your weekend. I will see you right back here on Monday for Monday's news show. Until then, y'all keep each other safe and healthy, and remember that tomorrow is just a dream away.